Story time about how my parents forced me to marry my first cousin. Disclaimer, this is not my story time. In 1962, I was 22 years old. I was studying biology at my university. I knew exactly what I wanted to do with my life. In fact, I had planned out every single year of my life. During this time, it was very uncommon for women my age to even study, to own businesses, or the expectation that I could be single until I was 30. But I expressed to my parents many times that I did not want to get married. Now, that's not to say I didn't want family or children, but I really wanted to focus on my career. Fortunately, both my parents thought that I was crazy for even wanting to study, let alone waiting to get married. Now, I think the one that really suffered from this idea was my mother. She would come into my room at least once a day with tears in her eyes to tell me that she thought I needed to get married to have kids, because without kids, I would have nobody to take care of me in the future. 2 months later, my parents let me know that they have arranged a marriage for me. Now, did I fall into a deep depression? No, actually. I was actually open and excited until they told me that it was my first cousin. The cousin that I grew up with and was almost like a brother. Part 2 is up. Story time about how my parents forced me to marry my first cousin. Disclaimer, this is not my story time. When they told me who I was going to marry, I was beyond sick to my stomach. I had grown up with this cousin. He was like a brother to me. For the next 8 hours, I groveled, I begged, and I kept promising my parents I would do anything to meet any other man, literally marry anyone else but my first cousin. They said that it was too late. Months later, there I am, dressed in white, marrying my first cousin. But the biggest twist of all is what happened after that. We were married for 2 weeks before I realized how sick this was. I couldn't touch the man, and thank God he couldn't touch me either. We knew that it was totally wrong, but of course during that time you just did what your parents wanted you to do. Divorce was really quick. I went back to school. I got married about 10 years later. Yes, everybody thought I was an old maid, too old to marry, no man will want me, but my husband and I had 4 kids. We're still married. Because of the Vietnam War, I actually became a nurse. I retired in my 50s. Now I live on a beach with my husband. You are never too old to follow your dreams, so start now. I got liposuction because of my hot boyfriend. I knew I needed to keep up appearances, so I decided to just go ahead and get the plastic surgery. At this point, him and I had only gone on 3 dates. He kept telling me how much he liked me. So I got the 360 lipo, got a boobie aug, only one size up, got cheek and under eye filler, I got a little bit more in my lips. Told him I had appendicitis and this is why I was getting surgery. He came to my apartment twice while I was recovering. 3 weeks later, I looked so much better. And around that time is when he asked me to be his girlfriend. I kept eating healthy and working out and I kept losing weight, but I knew that I needed to keep up the makeup look. He thought I wasn't wearing any makeup when we met. Whenever I stayed over at his place, I would wake up earlier and put a little bit of makeup on. It's been a year and he still doesn't know about any of it. I don't care. I'll continue to put makeup on and style my hair in the mornings before he wakes up. My body looks a million times better now that I actually have a waist. And I've been putting in the work and gained lots of muscle. All of my friends have congratulated me for my glow up. My life has gotten so much better. People treat me better. I even got the position I wanted at work. Now I have the hottest, most amazing boyfriend. This wouldn't have happened had I not put the work into myself. Would you have done the same, or is this totally cringe? My husband started abusing me because I wanted to breastfeed my baby. Disclaimer, this is not my story time, it's sending me on Instagram. Don't know what the psychology behind this is. Some men are good until they don't need to be. In my case, my nightmare started after we had our first baby. We were already married for 3 years. Boyfriend and girlfriend, the relationship was fun and loving. When we got engaged, it became even more intense, and he began showing his love in different ways. And after we got married, it was just amazing. We had a really great relationship. Went into couples counseling, worked out our issues, and we just loved being with each other all the time. Then I got pregnant. At first, he was really happy. After the baby came, he began to reproach me for not being available to him all the time. He started saying things like, my gosh, you're not fun anymore. You don't want to go anywhere anymore. You don't wear the clothes that you used to wear. And I said, duh, I'm taking care of our baby. He started distancing himself from our newborn baby. Why? Because when I started breastfeeding, he said he was uncomfortable with the idea of our baby boy latching onto me. That no other person should be touching me like that. I practically vomited in my mouth when he said this to me. It gets so much worse. Part 2 is up. My husband began abusing me after we had our baby because I wanted to breastfeed him. Disclaimer, this is not my story time. It was sent to me on Instagram. After he told me that he wasn't comfortable with our son latching onto me, that no other person should be touching me like that, we got into a massive fight. That was the first time he ever pushed me. It was an actual shock. First off, I had never seen this side to him. He was always jealous, but not controlling and possessive. Much less did he ever put hands on me. When he threw me down, I ended up bumping my shoulder so badly, I couldn't lift my arm for 2 weeks. Because I refused to not breastfeed the baby, anytime he would walk in and I was breastfeeding the baby, he would start a fight, cursing at me, yelling at me. Third time he did this, put the baby in his room, and then I decided to have it out with him. I told him that I thought he was being a child. That's when he slapped me for the first time. As soon as he did though, he was so apologetic he started crying, and he even threw himself on the floor. Part of me almost felt bad for him until he said, I hope you don't do this again. When I got one of those hidden cameras in a bear, and I recorded the next 2 fights. He pushed me against a wall, pulled my hair, and all of this while I was holding our newborn. You're never gonna guess what he did when he found out. Part 3 is up. My husband started started abusing me because I wanted to breastfeed my baby. Disclaimer, this is not my story time. It's sending me on Instagram. Don't know what the psychology behind this is. Some men are good until they don't need to be. In my case, my nightmare started after we had our first baby. We were already married for 3 years. Boyfriend and girlfriend, the relationship was fun and loving. When we got engaged, it became even more intense, and he began showing his love in different ways. And after we got married, it was just amazing. We had a really great relationship. Went into couples counseling, worked out our issues, and we just loved being with each other all the time. Then I got pregnant. At first, he was really happy. After the baby came, he began to reproach me for not being available to him all the time. He started saying things like, "My gosh, you're not fun anymore. You don't want to go anywhere anymore. Don't wear the clothes that you used to wear." And I said, duh, I'm taking care of our baby. He started distancing himself from our newborn baby. Why? Because when I started breastfeeding, that he was uncomfortable with the idea of our baby boy latching onto me. That no other person should be touching me like that. I practically vomited in my mouth when he said this to me. It gets so much worse. Part 2 is up. My best friend only keeps me around because I'm fat. Disclaimer, this is not my story time with sending me on Instagram. I've always been the chunky, pudgy, overweight, chubby girl in the group. Now, our friend group consisted of 4 girls in high school. Once we graduated college, 3 of us stuck together while the other one was kind of out. Then the other 2 girls in the group got boyfriends, and I was on my own. Eventually, they stopped reaching out to me and it was like I didn't even exist. Now, let me be very clear about something. I have accepted that I'm the chunky girl of the group. I never get jealous. I do not envy them. They are all very attractive and skinny, but I just don't care about that. I'm happy that they love their bodies, but I feel okay in mine. But of course, I knew that I needed to get healthier, so I signed up to the gym. Around this time, one of my girlfriends broke up with her boyfriend and she started coming around again. And I accepted her friendship again, but I told her that it hurt my feelings that she completely ignored me once she got a boyfriend. She promised that she would never do it again, and we started going to the gym together. She's the one that always gets hits on. Guys compliment her. It's like I don't even exist. In fact, they ask me for her number when she doesn't want to give it to them. You see where this is going? Decided to get dressed up all cute and we went to a bar together. Babe, part 2 is up. You gotta go watch. My best friend only keeps me around because I'm fat and I make her look good. Disclaimer, this is not my story time. It was sent to me on Instagram. That's when she invited me to go to our favorite bar. As usual, she always invites me to go to her place to get ready. Nope, she can never come to mine. So I lugged all my clothes and makeup all the way to her place. And as we're getting ready, she starts suggesting that I change my outfit. I felt really cute in my outfit. It was a sleek black blazer with the matching bottoms, tight black tank top, and gold jewelry. But as soon as she saw my outfit, she said I looked way too formal. And then she spent the next 30 minutes trying to convince me to change and put on one of her tight-ass dresses. I asked her if she was in her right mind, considering her dress wouldn't even fit my right thigh. Then she said that I needed to calm down and that we should just go get drinks. And then she ended up copying my outfit. She wore a gray blazer with skinny jeans. When we get to the bar, I started having fun right away. I saw one of my besties from work. Her and I get along so well. This is when I noticed my bestie was really quiet. But as usual, she's only waiting for a guy to come hit on her. Finally, some random dude comes up to her and asks her if she wants a drink. She's like, "Oh my god, thank you so much." Then she looks at me and says, "It's always good to have you around, you know?" Part 3 is up. My bestie only keeps me around because I'm fat and I make her look good. Disclaimer, this is not my story time with sending me on Instagram. That's when she tells me that it's always good having me around, you know? And I did not know what she meant at the time. When the random guy shows up with her drink, and then she does the thing that she always does. She flirts with these guys, puts her hand on their shoulder, tends to laugh at their stupid nasty ass jokes in the hopes of getting a second drink. Me, on the other hand, was dancing and having fun with my coworker. That's when the random guy says, "Hey you need to tell your best friend to give me her phone number." And I responded, "I mean, she will if she thinks you're hot." That's when my best friend whispers into this guy's ear, but loud enough for me to hear, "Oh, she's just upset because I'm the one that gets hit on and not her. You know, because she's a little bit chubby." It didn't even make me angry. I already knew she thought this, but it stung. Like the fatty I am, I invited my coworker to a nice dinner. I left my bestie at the bar without a car. I also sent her a text saying, "I heard what you said about me to the guy, and if that's what you really think about me, then this is not a friendship I need to be pursuing." The next morning, I had about 20 missed calls from her, and so I blocked her. If she really wanted to, she could have come to my house. Do you think I did the right thing? Self-care sister out. I found out my boyfriend didn't use protection when he cheated on me. If you want to send me your story time, slide into my DMs. I ran through boyfriend is a slut. 2 years ago, we met through friends at a party. He was asking for my number before he even knew my name. To be perfectly blunt, I thought he was kind of ugly. Wasn't anything particularly special about him. He wasn't well-spoken or intelligent. Wasn't good-looking. He didn't have a high-paying job. The only good quality I found in him that night was that he made me laugh. Not just once, but basically the entire night. I really underestimated just how much a man making me laugh made me feel good. So I gave the poor ugly guy a chance. I gave him my number. 2 weeks later, I get a stupid dumb text from him. "Hey, do you want to go out to brunch?" And I said sure. He ends up taking me to brunch in Lavo, NYC. If you know Lavo, you know that it's basically like a club in the morning, but with brunch food. So he got a couple of drinks in me, and before I knew it, he started looking pretty. And bam, he went in for a kiss, and I let him. A month later, we were together. But I caught him texting one of his exes. I broke up with him. We got back together. I caught him talking to another girl on Instagram. We broke up. We got back together. Then he was on his best behavior for a couple of months. So to part 2, it's already up. I found out my ran-through boyfriend didn't use protection when he cheated on me. If you want to send me your story time, slide into my DMs. Let me remind you, he was the ugly guy I gave a chance. After the third time I caught him talking to a girl on Instagram, I broke things off, but then he was on his best behavior, so we got back together. This is where I severely underestimated him. You see, because I thought he was a little bit ugly, didn't have a high-paying job, wasn't particularly smart, but he could make me laugh, just didn't think he was able to get girls, especially not ones that were willing to take off their clothes in front of him. But one day I catch him scratching his thingy. Like, a lot, you know? Not normal. So I ask him, what is wrong with you? Then he starts to cry and breaks down. He says that he cheated on me with a girl and that he did not use protection. So right then and there, I took myself to the doctor and I got myself tested, and thank God I did not catch whatever he had. Turns out he has crabs. Google that at your own risk. Do you think he even apologized to me? Nope. In fact, he ghosted me. Called him and texted and he blocked me. I went to his apartment and he wouldn't let me in. This is what I get for giving the ugly guy a chance. He didn't even care for my own safety. He wasn't even gonna tell me about it. Now, how should I get revenge? My husband turned me into a corn star on OF without me even knowing. Disclaimer, this is not my story time. I sent me on Instagram. This is when he finally confessed that he had been recording us doing the dirty. At first, I didn't get it. To be honest, he was my husband, so it was okay. Then he told me that he had been posting the videos on a platform called OF. I had never heard of it before, and then he filled me in. He showed me all of our earnings for the past 12 months. It was almost $150,000. I had never seen that much money in my life. He and I both came from poor families. And that's when he broke down and started to cry. He apologized and told me that he would delete the account, but I had an epiphany. I agreed to continue doing it. Never in my life would I have considered doing something like this, but we had been broke for so long. It was nice that he was paying for everything, that we could afford the better brands at the supermarket. But here's the thing. When I asked him to show me the videos that he had posted of me, I was humiliated and mortified. I thought he had at least covered my face, but no. You could see all of me and him in these videos. And then I made a huge mistake. I read the comments, and it turns out I have a new stalker. Girl, you better believe part 3 is up. Go watch it. Story time about how my husband turned me into a corn star on OF without me even knowing. Disclaimer, this is not my story time. I was sending me on Instagram. When he finally showed me the account and I checked the comments, I came to realize I had a stalker. This man knew a lot of stuff about me. He found out where I studied, and he even found out the city we lived in. At this point, I was okay with my husband posting videos of me on OF without me knowing, because the money was so good. We were so broke, we needed it. That's when he promised me that he would block that guy, and that from now on he would blur my face. And I agreed. Which is crazy, I know. So he ended up blocking the stalker and going on with the account. Deal was that I didn't have to do any posting, but I would just participate in the videos like usual. He would do all the editing, but that I would have control of all the money. A year later, I bought my mom a house, and we bought ourselves an apartment, and we started selling stuff on Amazon. And I'm basically the accountant. Control all the money going in and out, and my husband does the rest. Literally nobody knows. We've both kept the secret, and our families just think that we've leveled up. Do you think this is totally wrong, or should we just keep going? Self-care sister out. Am I an asshole for lying to my boyfriend about being pregnant just to keep him in a relationship? Disclaimer, this is not my story time. I repeat, this is not my story time. I was sending me on Instagram. My boyfriend and I have been together for almost 5 years. Granted, we did break up throughout those 5 years. With all the breakups, we've actually been together for about 3 years. I've never considered myself an obsessive person, but when it comes to him, something just takes over me. Here's some of the reasons why we broke up. At first, he didn't want to be in a relationship even though I begged him, which I know was so dumb of me. So he eventually broke up with me and told me that he didn't want anything serious. But he kept on calling me every single week because he wanted the dirty. Instead, I started going out on other dates and I would flaunt it all over my social media. And this worked. It made him super jealous and he came right back to me. Called me up one day and told me that he wanted me back. The second time we broke up, I caught him talking to some girls on Facebook. When I confronted him, he broke up with me. Told me I was too nosy and that he needed to live his life as a single man. We finally got back together. I told him that it was for marriage. He said yes, that he would eventually ask me to marry him. A few months ago, he started acting really cold towards me. He would barely call me, and when we were together, he would never touch me. That's when I started digging in his phone and I found that he was talking to some girls on Instagram. But I knew that if I confronted him, I would risk him breaking up with me again. So I did the next logical thing. I waited until I saw him again and I told him that I was pregnant. I even started to cry to make him feel like I was happy. His face turned completely white and he asked me if I was sure. I said yes. Aren't you happy, baby? Part 2 is up. Am I the asshole for lying to my boyfriend about being pregnant just so that I could keep him in a relationship? Disclaimer, this is not my story time. I repeat, this is not my story time. I sent him on Instagram. That's when he started to cry. Remember, I don't even have a pregnancy test to show or anything. But surprisingly, he didn't ask for proof of my pregnancy. He just kept crying on the couch. I asked him if he was happy, but clearly he was not. But he lied and said, yeah, of course I'm happy. Seeing how vulnerable he was, I took advantage of the situation and I brought up marriage. I told him we should get engaged soon so that we could tell his family. Then he said, are you sure you want to to get married? And I said, of course, we're going to have a baby. Then he sat there for a minute and thought about it. Finally, he got down on one knee and said, do you want to marry me? I said, yes. And this time I cried for real. All my dreams were coming true. After that, things started moving really fast. We invited both our families to my apartment and we hosted a dinner. We broke the news to them that I was pregnant. Again, nobody asked for proof of the pregnancy though. Our families were so happy and excited. That very same night, he gave me a beautiful engagement ring. His mom even started planning the baby shower. Let me remind you, I'm actually not pregnant. So I had to come up with a plan. You'll never guess what I did. Part 3 is up. Am I an asshole for lying to my boyfriend about being pregnant just to keep him in a relationship? Disclaimer, this is not my story time. I repeat, this is not my story time. It was sent me on Instagram. His mom started planning the baby shower and there was no turning back. Even my mom got involved in the planning of the baby shower. So like I said, I'm really not pregnant at this point. So I started trying to get pregnant, but my damn boyfriend just wouldn't touch me. I decided to check his phone again and saw that he was still talking to some girls on Instagram. So I decided to confront him at this point. I mean, we are engaged and I'm supposedly pregnant with his baby. I confronted him and he just got angry at me. He said that if he was gonna marry me and have a baby with me, he would need to talk to other girls and that was not a negotiation for him. Then he confessed that he was seeing 2 other girls on the side and that there was no way he was gonna stop seeing them and that I couldn't do anything about it. But his confession actually made me fall out of love with him. Now I'm planning to break up with him. But what do I do about the fake pregnancy? I do want to make him pay for what he said to me, but I don't want to hurt our families either. Should I just come clean? What should I do?